for that inch.
Rarely do I see any American Italians eating in here.
But I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
Villkoret är att jag får leva.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Welcome to Real Genius. I am Chris Vognar, culture critic for the Dallas Morning News.
And I wish I were Oscar Isaac, but instead I'm Robert Wilonsky, the digital managing editor for the Dallas Morning News.
Robert, new mini-series premiering on HBO this Sunday called Show Me a Hero. We're going to talk about some of the relevance to what's going on in Dallas right now, and also just about why this is really, really worth watching. 2 words, David Simon.
All right, so let's pause it for just a second, because we were going to do Straight Outta Compton, which I was dying to see, been dying to see. First of all, how is it, real quick?
It's good. It's too long. It's
All
about
right.
a half hour too long, and it suffers from what most music biopics suffer from, which is trying to cram everything into that.
Every moment is a moment of
time.
revelation and triumph.
But yes, I enjoyed it very much, and it's like the definition of my wheelhouse.
Okay, so we were going to do that, and then I decided at the last second, and this is all my fault, that I wanted to do Show Me a Hero, because I
all
read
your
the book.
fault.
But more importantly,
I had already watched the whole thing.
you'd already seen it, so that worked out
I
well
was
for you.
totally cool with that.
I had not, and I crammed it in, because it's a book that was always very important to me, and it's more importantly a story that's very relevant to what's going on in Dallas at the moment. In fact, David Simon has talked in interviews recently about how what happened in Yonkers in the late 1980s and early 1990s is very much still taking place in Dallas today, which is Dallas's inability to take its affordable housing or its low-income housing and put it in neighborhoods other than where there already is low-income and affordable housing. We are, as one Dallas City Council member said just moments before I walked in here, still managing to use federal money to put poor people on top of poor people on top of poor people and not give them a fighting chance to move to where the rich people are. So that's what this is about. That's what Dallas is dealing with. Dallas has got federal lawsuits and Supreme Court rulings coming down against the city for using federal money to be bad when it comes to affordable housing. And so this series, it's a 6-part miniseries, really does, in a lot of ways, make tangible for a lot of people what is still a very abstract idea. This is all about zoning. This is all about court cases. This is all about the threats of a judge. This is really, could be in any lesser hands, boring, mundane, wonky stuff.
If that sounds boring to you, it's really not. Largely, I think, because David Simon, who, of course, is the architect of The Wire, is the guy calling the shots here, and he really brings out the drama and the humanity, and he even makes the minutia of what goes on at city council meetings somehow thrilling. And
look, they're thrilling. Don't make no mistake about it.
That's his gift. He just brings this kind of Russian novel element to things that on paper seem like they might make your eyes glaze over.
See, but I've long believed, and look, I guess we should take a look at this, but I've long believed that you embed somebody in Dallas City Council for a week, for a month, for a year, you have riveting stuff. That there is no richer vein of material than city politics.
I still think you should write the Dallas version of The Wire.
Well, I think it happens every day. I think I just watched it at Dallas City Hall, quite frankly. I watched a council member essentially shake down Trammell Crow developers for some affordable housing on Clyde Warren Park. And I don't mean shake down in the worst sense of the word.
Not in the Suge Knight way.
No, I mean in the, he got a deal cut in council chambers, which is what as soon as we get down there, I'm going to go write about. But I guess before we do that, we should watch a little bit of Show Me a Hero, which debuts on HBO this Sunday night.
Well, don't tell anybody, but I always wanted to be the mayor. I used to talk about it all the time growing up. The other kids used to call me the mayor.
Really?
It wasn't a compliment.
The city intentionally segregated its housing for 40 years.
The whole damn city government's white.
This judge wants to take low-income housing and put it here in East Yonkers.
The trash, the drugs. We will die from what this idiot is trying to shove down our throats.
I live here, and I am nothing like what they describe.
So what are you gonna do?
It's that guy from Yonkers again, asking if he can get any help from the state of New York.
I can taste the blood there. I can taste the light.
Man, with these people.
So many good performances that are worth noting in this. Oscar Isaac, We were just discussing our mutual man crush on Oscar Isaac, who I don't think has done anything bad yet. He almost reminds me of a young Al Pacino as this guy, Nick Wasisco. And this is based on a true story that took place in the late 80s and early 90s. Alfred Molina is fantastic.
He's the council member who's vehemently opposed.
He's the reactionary council person. Winona Ryder, also just excellent.
As an ousted council member.
As an ousted council member. Catherine Keener, unrecognizable as a middle-class Yonkers resident who is sort of the moral compass for this whole miniseries. We see her as she starts to change her mind and, in that sense, go against the grain of her
she initially
community.
doesn't even, she is, I think, she's our guide through this. She's one of those people who, imagine you're living somewhere and you find out that suddenly there's going to be low-income housing behind you.
Right.
You don't think about it for years. It's
not in my backyard.
It's a little story, and somebody literally uses that phrase.
Which is a great scene.
So, did you literally just say, not in my backyard? But she finds out that it's going in her neighborhood, and rather than it just being this flashing news story, which it is for a very long time, she then decides to get involved, only to realize that she's thrown in with people who are not just opposed to having affordable housing in their backyard, but also because they're kind of reactionary racist a-holes.
Yes.
She's like, well, because it's basically all the fault of the Jew lawyers working with the NAACP. It's like, oh, wait a minute. So her compass begins to spin wildly, I think. And it's an amazing performance, and I love, God, every performance is extraordinary. Can we talk for a minute about how Jim Belushi is the mayor?
Great, as the ousted mayor.
He's, I'm sorry, so when I see Jim Belushi as the ousted mayor of Yonkers, all I can think about is how great a Mayor Mike Rawlings he would be as well. He sounds like him, he kind of looks like him. I mean, and again, that's the problem for me in watching this, is that I very strongly imprinted what's happening in Dallas now with what happened in Yonkers in the 1980s. The difference is, here you had a federal judge who said, if you do not come up with 200 affordable units,
you will be fined $100 a day.
No, you'll be fined $100 the first day, then it doubles, and then it doubles and doubles to the point where in 22 days, Yonkers would be bankrupt. Its council members who voted in opposition to the housing plan would be thrown into jail and fined for contempt. We haven't had that here yet. I don't know if we will. There have certainly been deals cut with HUD and the mayor and a lot of Julian Castro and a bunch of other folks that may preclude that from ever happening here. That said, it could, and it did there, and it's happening all over the country. And the fact that you can make a TV show that's so thrilling about such a weirdly wonky subject is extraordinary. And I think only David Simon could have done it.
I'm going to throw one other name into the credit list, too, and that's Paul Haggis, who directs all 6 episodes.
Yeah, it's what Crash wasn't.
He's working with this really great screenplay that he didn't write. And Paul Haggis is known for, these systems of plot and these very schematic sort of stories. And here I think he brings his strengths with that kind of material to a story he didn't write. And I think this is some of the best work he's done.
This is literally what Crash wanted to be but wasn't. I mean, it crosses all socioeconomic, racial, religious strata.
I think it's like a lost season of The Wire.
Well, that's exactly what it is.
But set in Yonkers.
I mean, that's all it is, right? I mean, it really is just...
It's like the Carcetti season 3 of The Wire, which I love. I loved all of them.
I mean, look, and I guess maybe we love Simon so much because he's done for low-income housing and local politics what he did for newspapering and crime and The Wire. I mean, this is really a kind of extraordinary... sort of this same vein that he keeps coming back to again and again for such provocatively different material. It's an extraordinary piece of work.
So watch Show Me a Hero, please.
Really, I mean, you can't not watch it. It is the best thing you will see on television all summer. And if you live here in Dallas, it's the most important thing you will see because you can look at somebody else having this problem far away a long time ago, played by actors you like, and go, oh yeah, that's happening right here. And I need to be involved.
In your backyard.
Yeah, in my backyard.
Thanks for joining us. Watch it, and we'll see you next week.